little reading here. This is a piece that I wrote some years ago, and it was kind of based on the whole notion of the act of writing. The act of writing, of course, being a very solitary pursuit, and of course I thought, solitary, where else might one find solitary? And you'll find out. This is entitled The Ballad of Writing Jail. Forgive the poor quality of this letter, as I have been incarcerated in the Clifford Irving Maximum Security Literary Penitentiary, aka Writer's Island, for the past 5 days and have only this crumpled Helmsley Palace notepaper to write on. They have also confiscated all of my writing implements. You're in the pen, so you can't write with one, the guard said, as he took my entire store of rare diamel-encrusted eraser mates. So I have perforce been reduced to scrawling this missive in blood. Not my own, fortunately, but I think my cellmate is starting to get suspicious, so I'll try to keep this brief. Life has taken some unpleasant turns, as you can well imagine. I am serving a 2-year sentence for plagiarism in the 1st degree. Some blinkered circuit court judge has had the audacity to claim that my most recent play, A Streetcar Named Jim Bob, was cribbed in toto from some obscure work by some dead guy by the name of William Tennisball or something. How absurd. I would only have had to pay a fine if I hadn't taken the judge's gavel and inserted it into my pants and performed the Serbo-Croatian lizard dance for the court in a last-ditch plea for clemency. Unfortunately, I was in a jurisdiction where premeditated interpretive dance had been recently outlawed, so the judge added 2 years to my sentence and assigned me 3,600 hours of community service and a 20-page essay on Beowulf. And they say justice is blind. So it appears that I will be not writing any column this month. This was written for a magazine, by the way. A pity too, since I had come very close to finishing my essay, compact discs. You can see your reflection in them, you know. And had just received a grant from the National Endowment of the Pointless to colorize the poems of Baudelaire. I still have fevered dreams of how wonderful Flowers of Evil would look in a sort of off-teal, and often when I wake I have to bite down on my cellmate's arms to stifle the screams. I have grown quite dependent on him for this reason. As the female protagonist in my play, Blanco de Bosque, would say, I have always counted on the courtesy of people I don't know. I must say that prison isn't nearly as glamorous as movies like Midnight Express might lead you to believe. The warden is a cruel, despotic, and twisted, but fair man. I will never forget his address to all the newcomers on the day I arrived. Pacing back and forth in front of us with his mirrored reading glasses in place, he barked, "This here is a realist's prison facility. If I see any of you using allegory, you spend a night in the box. If I hear about any of you maggots attempting a Wildean comedy of manners, you spend a night in the box. And if I, or one of my stereotypically weaselly underlings, find any of you trying to pull off some kind of epic novel exploring the essential absurdity of man in a godless universe with a touch of absurdist meta-satire Ionesco, well, then you go into the remainder bin. Any of you pro-slinging pock faces got a problem with that?" The cell block was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The warden swung around angrily. "All right, who dropped that pin? Somebody here looking to be expurgated?" Goddamn mad dog. I recognized that reversible mutter. It was Otto, one of the new kids on the cell block. His infamy preceded him. Otto was well known to state and federal authorities for writing and speaking solely in palindromes. He arrived the same day as myself to serve the first of 15 consecutive life sentences. He hadn't committed any crime, he just annoyed the piss out of everyone. He had an aura of intimidation about him, or at least he did until one of the minimalists stole it from him to keep warm. Even so, I could tell he was trouble. The warden quickly singled him out. "What's your name, convict?" He didn't flinch. "Palindrome Otto E. Mordenalap," Not in my Belletras detainment facility at 8. From now on, you will be referred to solely by your Library of Congress catalog card number. Is that clear, 73-18137? Ha! I said H-A-H. All right. Ah! You think you're a tough boy, huh? A badass? Real hardcore Clifford Odets mofo? We'll just see how tough you are. Cletus, Theodore, bring this tough guy down to Critics Row. If I live to be 1,000, I will never forget the horror of the scene. The look in Otto's eyes as the guards dragged him off, and him screaming, "Oh God, no! On, dog, ho!" Fortunately, I'm not likely to live 1,000 years, so I'll probably forget it by the weekend. Still, it was unpleasant. I think one of the worst things about prison life is my lack of options. I spend most of my days lifting weighty tomes to keep in shape. It's slow going, but I hope by the end of the month to be able to bench press 2 copies of Gravity's Rainbow and the unedited edition of The Stand. When I'm not doing that, I've been in the prison shop, pressing license plates with the entire text of the Iliad on them. Admittedly, the only vehicles they would fit would have to be 86 stories tall and take up 3 city blocks, but I hear that compact cars are going out of fashion anyway. I figure that if I keep my nose clean and I don't split my infinitives, I'll be able to get a job copying the graffiti on the cell walls before too long. That is, if my appeal doesn't go through first. I was hoping to be released on a technicality. Instead of reading me my rights, the arresting officer performed excerpts from Cats, which I believe falls under the heading of police brutality. But my court-appointed lawyer has been of little help, especially since, due to some clerical error, I am required to grant him weekly conjugal visits. He promised to get me leniency if I stripped down to my pasties and a pair of rubber jockey shorts, my legal briefs he calls them, and sing, "Dear Jurisprudence, won't you come out to play?" I will forbear any further description. But I will tell you, if you're ever in the situation, make sure your attorney clarifies what he says when he tells you, "Don't worry, I'll get you off." Not that I would wish these circumstances on anybody. I'm surrounded by meonymic murderers, consonant con men, and rhetorical rapists by the score. In short, the dregs of erudite society. Just yesterday, I was approached by a member of one of the most brutal factions in the prison, the Elizabeth Barrett Brownshirts. A gang dedicated to white supremacy and Victorian love sonnets. A more terrifying combination would be hard to imagine. They were looking to engage my services in trafficking some of the black market goods that came into the facility. Drugs, X-Acto knives, inferior translations of Goethe. You name it, the brown shirts can get it for you at a price. Slightly higher in Canada. When I refused his offer, he reached down and fused my testicles together with his fist, then incapacitated me with a sharp karate chop to the proboscis. "Capote taught me that one," he whispered. "Watch your back, Prince Michigan. When you least expect it, one of my friends might pull a Jerzy Kosinski on your ass. And don't try to report me. My last mise-en-scène got unmercifully panned in Entertainment Weekly, so I got nothing to lose. Don't fear for me, though. I have made a deal with the rival gang, Hell's Neoclassicists, for round-the-clock protection in exchange for a carton of cigarettes and a few Noel Coward-esque bon mots every week. A small price to pay, you will agree. Well, my cellmate's arm is running out of blood, so I'd best sign off. You may see me soon. Yossarian in the next cell has been planning to escape by hiding in the bin where the penitentiary's used carbon paper is kept. And I'm thinking of joining him if the break is planned for after Norman Mailer's annual visit to search for protégés. I may yet taste the sweet air of freedom again, even if I have to be indelibly blue-stained and covered in backwards typos to prove it. My best wishes to all.